Hi everybody. I had to drink my coffee. Old guy here. Mrs. Old Guy behind the camera as usual. Good morning, Mrs. Old Guy.
Good morning.
So today I'm going to make cheesecake for 2 people. I guess you could probably serve more than 2 people, but Mrs. Old Guy and I will make one of these, and then that's our dessert for a couple of nights. So we're going to get started right away. I'm not going to mess around too much. Come on in here, Mrs. Old Guy. I've got 3 graham crackers. That's 3 of these. Got them all crushed up. To that I'm going to add a tablespoon and a half of sugar and a couple tablespoons of melted butter. Just going to mix it around real quick. And I'm just going to make a quick crust. If you like a thicker crust or a little more crust, just add a little bit more. Crush up a little bit more graham cracker. I don't like a super thick crust, so it's going to be a little sparse on the bottom. This is a standard 9-inch cake pan that I got here. And I'm just going to kind of flatten it out. And I'm going to make these videos quick, so hopefully it'll be okay for you guys, and it'll be a little bit of informative and maybe just very slightly entertaining. Okay, so there is the bottom of that. I'm just going to throw this into my oven. It's already hot, 350. I'm going to set my timer wherever it is right there for 5 minutes. Alright, now come on back over here, Mrs. Old Guy. We're going to get started with the actual cheesecake part. I've got 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. It's been sitting out for about an hour, hour and a half, so it's about room temperature. And I'm just going to get these scraped off and put in real quick. And while I'm doing this, check out the link down below. You'll see a link there for Trippy Foods. Go on over there and check out Val over there at Trippy Foods. Always got something neat going on. Always checking out some kind of food, chips, bugs, whatever. He's got a pretty cool live stream that he does every Saturday. So take a minute and go check out Val. So, okay, there is our 2 packages of cream cheese. Whoop. And I'm just going to get them started to mix. Give it just a second. Now the trick is, for this particular cheesecake, or any cheesecake I guess, or cake, you want to scrape the bowl pretty consistently, pretty often. So I'm going to just add my sugar. I've got 2/3 cup of sugar here. I'm going to let that run for just a minute. Come on in here, Mrs. Old Guy. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to let that run for a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just scraped that bowl down really well all the way to the bottom. And we're going to get it started again. Okay, so this has been mixing for about 3 or 4 minutes. Shut this off so you can hear me a little better. In this little bowl here, I've got 4 tablespoons of flour, or a 1/4 cup. They're both the same thing. So we're going to add the flour. And again, you're going to want to scrape this down at least twice. Give it a good 5 minutes mixing. The longer you mix it, the better it's going to be. So I like to give it at least 5 minutes in between each ingredient. And I'll also get it kind of turned up so that we really get almost a whip on it, but not quite. Let that run for just a second. And I'm going to shut it off now just to show you that you're going to want to give it a scrape down all the way to the bottom and off. The more you scrape it, the better it's going to be, the creamier and smoother it'll be. You're not going to have lumps and so forth. You just keep it down like that. Okay. Okay, the crust is done. It's been 5 minutes. And it doesn't look a whole lot different, but you can see it's just slightly baked. That just helped melt the sugar a little bit so it'll kind of stick together. And we're going to let that cool. Now I'm going to set my oven to, I'll shut it off here. Start over. Bake at, you're only going to want to go 275. Bake 270. We'll let that sit there and kind of even out, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so this has been mixing roughly 5 minutes. I'm going to start to add the eggs. I'm just going to add one at a time. We'll let that mix for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to scrape the sides down after the addition of each egg. This is not a 30-minute thing. It takes a little while to make this cheesecake. The mixing part isn't what takes the time. It's the baking, and then you got to let it cool for a good little while. So, and then somebody might ask, exactly what is a good little while? I don't really have an answer to that, other than maybe a few hours. Okay, so scrape down. We're gonna that mixing in. Alright, we'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm going to throw in this next egg. I'm going to let that slip in. And there's a good reason to do these into a bowl first. See that little piece of eggshell? It's going to stick to the bottom of the bowl. So that way if you crack your egg into something else first, you're not going to get any in your cheesecake. Alright, we're going to let that mix in for a minute, and we'll show you from there. Alright, so it's been several minutes, and now I'm going to add the vanilla, and that's just a teaspoon and a quarter of vanilla. Add that in. And just on a quick side note, as you take the time to scrape down the bowl, take a second and scrape down your beater too, trying to get the chunks and stuff off of that, so the less lumps you have in your cheesecake batter, the better it's going to be. This just takes a quick minute to mix in, and I will scrape down the bowl one last time. You can see it's starting to get nice and smooth. It only takes a second just to kind of get the whole thing. It really is important that you scrape down your bowl. If you don't have one of these mixers, a hand mixer, it will work just as good. It just takes a little bit longer, probably, and so that'll be all right. I'm sure it'll be all right. You can do it. Okay, one more quick stir. Call that good. Tap off, it's on the paddle here. See how it's kind of just dripping off the paddle there? There's one little lump right there. It's going to be okay, but that's why you try and get it as smooth as you can, because there's always going to be a little bit. Alright, now we're just going to come over here to my cake pan. Pour this in. Simple enough. Get this poured in, and it's going to bake approximately 45 to 55 minutes. It's going to vary a little bit depending on your oven. So you're going to want to set it for at least 40 minutes and then start checking it every 5 minutes after that. Alright, I'm just going to make sure this is all spread out evenly. Okay, there you have it, and we'll be back when I pull it out of the oven. It's going to be delicious. Okay, well, it's been 45 minutes in my oven, and I do believe this is done. Give it a little touch here. Okay. So come on in here, Mrs. Old Guy. And what I do is I just very gently kind of give it a touch. I kind of cracked it right there, but just a very gentle touch and see if we're firm all the way around. We're good to go. So I'm going to let that sit to room temperature, and then I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge for at least 5 hours. Overnight is going to be best, but 5-6 hours you want to make sure that it's really good and cold. So we'll come back when we get to that point. Okie dokie. Well, it's been several hours, probably 7 hours or so. I don't know. If you really want to know, you can look at the timestamp on the thing here. But anyway, so this is fully chilled. And come on in here, Mrs. Old Guy. You can see that the cheesecake is pulled away from the side. So that's an indication that it was completely done. And I'm just going to give this a cut in half here, so I don't continue to tear it up like that did. I'm going to go wipe it off. Alright. And this will make dessert for Mrs. Old Guy and I for 4 days. We get 4 pieces each out of this. It'll keep that long, 4 days. If you got company coming over, obviously, you know, it's okay. You know, you got about 8 slices here. So we're just going to pull this out. Looks pretty good. I have to force Mrs. Old Guy into eating this cheesecake because she just can't stand my cheesecake at all. Can you, Mrs. Old Guy?
I can't.
So I got to give it a try here. Come on in, Mrs. Old Guy. Look at that, folks. That's beautiful. And that's good. Yummy. I mean, that is really good cheesecake. Give it a try sometime. Thanks for watching my videos. Hope you come back and watch some more. Take care. We'll see you next time.